We're less than 4 hours away as I record this podcast from Banner Night. You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, I want to take a moment to share some news. Thanks to a fantastic October, we had great co-hosts and guests like Emily Adams, insightful co-hosts like Dan Meehan of Exit 68, and some great interviews in October have really been a phenomenal month for us. We've watched Locked On UConn grow and our community grow really fast. It's only getting better in November. So it's because of listeners like you. So a special shout out to my everydayers for that. And finally, we're really excited about being able to give our 10% of our revenue to Bleeding Blue for Good and an additional 10% to Husky Ticket Project. Really excited about how we can send kids to games that otherwise would not be able to go. So that means every follow, download, subscription helps support UConn athletes and sends kids to experience the excitement of UConn basketball and football. Super excited about that. So if you're enjoying the content, please take a second to subscribe and follow wherever you listen to the audio version. Together, we're building something special and helping make a real difference for Husky fans everywhere. Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Well, it is, hope you're listening to this as you're going to the game, as you're about to, get excited about the game. We did the women's show this morning. So tonight is more than just a season opener for us. It's Banner Night at Gampel Pavilion, a celebration of back-to-back championships and the foundation of what Dan Hurley is calling a dynasty. Yes, we saw those T-shirts that say dynasty on them with all of the championship years that UConn has won on the men's side. And this atmosphere is bound to bring a charge to UConn fans everywhere. We have a report coming from Gampel Pavilion that we'll show you later in the third segment of the show. So bear with me on that. We'll get some thoughts from people on the ground there. So the expectation level is really sky high. I mean, fans will fill the arena. It's going to be a madhouse. They're going to unveil the 2024 championship banner. I don't know if any of the likely none of the guys that are in the NBA are going to be there, but likely you may see some dignitaries sideline to really kind of take in the magnitude of the event. But also, I'm really looking forward to watching guys like Liam, watching guys like Aiden, watching guys like Terrace, watching the freshmen like Ahmad Noel, Isaiah Abraham, who are likely all going to play because we're playing a Sacred Heart team that it's a 35-point spread. So we likely are going to blow them out. So I want to see how they respond to this because they, it's like Dan has said, they're seeing guys walk around with back-to-back sweatshirts and rings and, getting to go to the White House. They didn't get to do any of that stuff. Like that's not how Dan Hurley plays. You know what I mean? Like if you're a part of this organization and you contributed to that title, you're damn right. You're going to get all the love in the world. But if you didn't earn it, you don't get that stuff. So it's not just by association. So I think they're not champions of anything yet. And I think that's the really important thing that they're going to see this tonight. So for Sacred Heart, stepping into this environment, my alma mater, is a monumental challenge and an opportunity coming off of a solid showing in their opener against Temple, where if you watch that game, I didn't look at Sacred Heart and think, man, that looks like the school I went to. It reminds me of what this transfer portal situation can do, especially to mid-major and low-major teams. And I would consider Sacred Heart's kind of in that mix between low and mid because they're making the leap to the MAC. They're no longer in the NEC. So it's going to be an interesting mix for them. They lost 81-70 to our old foe Temple of the AAC, where they showed, some resilience. They have size. Tanner Thomas led the way with 22 points, showcasing some potential there, and likely will be a focal point for Sacred Heart this season. But for tonight, that's a guy you should take a look at. Bryce Johnson back after a year at Northeastern, added a double-double with 10 points and 11 rebounds. Like I said, they have a size to them. They're 6'5". They have 6'5" guards, 6'4" guards. Their tallest guy is 6'11". He's a 6'11" freshman. I'm not sure how much he plays, but it really is kind of not a typical smaller school. Like when Duke played Maine, I think their tallest guy was 6'7". So we're not playing what would be considered the perfect cupcake for us. So if you're a betting man, I would probably stay away from that large number, even though on Twitter I said, they're going to win by 40, which is probably what's going to happen. But the task tonight is daunting. UConn's length and athleticism, trademarks of Coach Hurley's system, will likely disrupt Sacred Heart's game plan. They're not going to get the open looks they got against Temple to start the game. Offensive rebounding, some of that I think is going to go out the window. I hope, right? I think the Huskies are known for in Dan's tenure, not just how good their offense is, but how they really don't give up a lot on defense. Like even with the Rhode Island exhibition where they looked like they were in shambles, they still had a fantastic second half where they had numerous steals, deflections. They only held them to 35 points in the second half. So I think that's the team you're going to see. It's going to make things very difficult for the Sacred Heart Pioneers, especially if they struggle with UConn's pace and physicality, which I think they will. Players like Samson Johnson, Terrace Reed, Alex Karaban, I think are going to really be a difficult matchup for these guys because Samson is the type of athletic big that the folks at Sacred Heart, the kids that they're playing against, aren't typically used to. Terrace is just a mountain of a man. He is going to physically overpower whoever he plays. And Alex is going to do what Alex does. Score as much as he needs to, get everyone else involved. So despite being the underdog, Sacred Heart showed some really some fight against Temple. They started off on a 15-5 lead. So I was just like, I was interested because we're playing them, but also it's the school I went to. I remember playing in the Pitt Center, for intramural games and in different places like that. So even in the second half, they briefly took a 6-point lead before Temple's 17-2 run shifted momentum. So Sacred Heart's performance should give people an idea of the type of team that UConn is playing tonight. It's a quality opponent for a bye game, especially. It's probably going to be one of the stronger bye games we play, teams that we play. And I think it'll really show Dan enough than, some of the other teams that they're probably going to play before Maui. So they're ranked, UConn comes in ranked third in the nation, as we know, entering the game with the mindset of setting the tone for this three-peat on banner night. As Hurley has emphasized time and time again, and I know you guys are tired of hearing me say this, their obsession with improvement is important. Day by day, practice by practice, drill by drill. This game isn't just about honoring past accomplishments, although they will reflect on it quickly. This game is about proving this team is ready to defend its title. And really, focusing on that is all that Dan Hurley needs to do because he hasn't done our show yet. Would love to have him. Open door, Dan. But he's been everywhere. Fanta had an interview with him, Pat McAfee, John Rothstein. Now, the time is now. The time is now for us to put down the microphone, not us, but to put down the podcast and watch this team and start to cover this team because they're in season. Back to Sacred Heart a little bit. They're filled with 7 freshmen, 4 transfers, and will likely feel the weight of this matchup. But Coach Anthony Latina is ready to lead them into the fire. I recently listened to him on Jared Kotler's podcast. Really great guy. He's been there for 12 years. Wish him the best. Tonight's not going to be his night, but that's okay. They're moving into the MAC. I think this team is a little tougher than what people think. They have a game under their belt, so they'll come out pretty loose, I'm sure. But like I said, UConn fans can expect the Huskies to bring intensity from the start, leveraging their defense and length to control this game. Gampel Pavilion is going to be rocking. The energy will be sky high. Sacred Heart's ability to keep pace will be tested. I don't think it's going to happen. It's banner night. And for both teams, this game represents the start of new chapters and a renewed season. UConn unveiling that banner, showing everybody what this team is all about. As soon as that ball goes up on the tip, I couldn't be more excited. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit about Dan and his pursuit of perfection Is he truly more locked in than ever before? And is that even possible? Coming up after the break. Hey guys, let's be real. Sometimes life gets busy and that can impact your confidence when it comes to intimacy. But with Hims, taking care of yourself is easier than ever. Hims provides access to doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and even generics that are up to 95% cheaper than the name brands. The process is straightforward. Just answer a few questions online, and a medical professional will determine the right treatment for you. No waiting in rooms, no uncomfortable doctor visits, just discreet, effective care delivered straight to your door. With thousands of satisfied users, Hims is trusted to help you find the ED solution that works for you. So why wait? Start your free online visit today by going to hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com/lockedon. What's up, FanDuel guys? Get ready to tackle the NFL action with America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And you're back on Locked On UConn. Look, it's banner night. We just talked about how Sacred Heart is probably a team that, fans are going to get probably a little surprised by because it's a bigger team. It's a bigger mid-major / low major moving to the MAC. I think it's going to be a good test for the boys tonight on banner night. But we're also talking about beyond banner night tonight, and we're going to get our report from Gampel on the ground, literally live at 3:34 or 3:40 when we go to Kyle. But before we get to him, briefly, let's talk about this unbelievable standard that Dan has brought to UConn in the pursuit of perfection, which is something that I didn't think anyone would really ever say. And it's not about they're going to lose a game this year. They won 37-3 last year. So I'm not talking about going undefeated. I'm talking about, being unbeatable in the respect of Hurley doesn't feel like if you put a team on the floor that does the things that he wants to be done, from perfecting his style of basketball, from perfecting the type of intensity each day, each practice, that's what he means by unbeatable. There's a quote from, I think, Fanta's piece today, which is, it's really hard to get where we are, but it's even harder to stay where we are. You got to be even more obsessed, more pathological in your pursuit of improvement. He also said that in the John Rothstein interview, and that word pathological is really kind of stuck with me, because that's kind of how I think he connects with us UConn fans, is we all feel that same pathological intensity to this fan, being the fan of this team, how much it means to us in the state of Connecticut if you're from there, how much it means to you if you're not there anymore and you wish you were. That's a powerful statement and shows Hurley's dedication to keeping this team at the top. And it's also the passion that resonates with all of us, right? And all of his players. If you think about Alex Karaban, he said this quote: somehow Coach Hurley has risen to a whole other level right now. He's hungrier than ever, and he wants to make sure we're not satisfied. For Hurley, each day brings an opportunity to push that obstacle is the way mentality, as I've talked about on the podcast. A key moment that shaped that all of that is everybody knows what happened with the Teddy Allen game with New Mexico State. We did an entire show with Michael Rosen, who talked about how UConn built an offensive juggernaut. The defeat that sent Hurley on a quest for answers, essentially, right? He sought insight from Jay Wright, Jim Calhoun. He didn't want us to be good. He wanted to become the best program in college basketball. I've said this time and time again. I hope no one's listening to this. Listen to this show. I'm talking about pundits and whatnot. Everybody that picks UConn to have a drop-off doesn't understand Dan Hurley and what he's willing to do to make sure that UConn stays on top. And this is a quote from him. For us, leading the climb back to the top is special for everybody. And when you walk into their facility, seeing the banners and trophies, Hurley is building a legacy that reaches beyond the court. But more so for tonight, that sixth banner, what that represents is not just the culmination, but we're in the middle of something. This is a dynasty that he's building, and I don't think it stops with this banner tonight. When we come back, let's get a look and feel from the ground from Kyle Bergstrom. He's there. I see him backstage. We're going to do a quick little ad break and bring on Kyle coming up after this. Hey, college basketball fans, let me tell you about a game changer, Z-Biotics. I may have to do that tonight. Now, I'll be honest, it was a bit skeptical at first, but recently after a night out with some friends, I decided to give Z-Biotics a pre-alcohol probiotic drink a try. It's this incredible drink invented by PhD scientists to help you feel better the morning after. And it works. When you drink, alcohol turns this toxic byproduct in your gut. That's why what really causes those rough mornings and that dehydration. Z-Biotics tackles that head on with an enzyme to break it down. I've tried it. I made it with my first drink of the night about a week ago. And the next morning, nothing. No fog, no sluggishness. It was like I just drank water all night. I was sharp and ready for the day. If you ready to try it, go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege and use the code lockedoncollege for 15% off. They even have a 100% money back guarantee. So if you've got literally nothing to lose, give it a shot. Thank me later. Go check out Z-Biotics. What's up, guys? There's nothing like the atmosphere of a live basketball game, and we got one tonight, don't we? One of my favorite memories was going to Madison Square Garden to watch Danielle Marshall drop 42 points on, I believe, Seton Hall. I was 12, so I might have to check me on that. 42 was a record in the quarterfinal. It's just different than watching it on TV. I get it. With Game Time, it's easier than ever to get those games. They got this awesome new feature called Game Time Picks that curates the best deals on seats, cutting through all the fluff. So if you don't have to scroll through and find thousands of tickets, it's not just sports. You can find tickets for concerts and theaters too. I was looking up an upcoming game on the app, and if you look at Game Time now, let's look at it really quick. Let's look at UConn. Maybe there's some tickets. I doubt it. Definitely not today. But yeah, there's some tickets right now. If you look right now, I mean, you could sit pretty much courtside for $255 right now. So check it out. So you want to make it to the game? You could do it right now. Use the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So what time is it, guys? It's game time, and it is almost at Gampel Pavilion. All right, we're back on Locked On UConn on banner night. We talked about Dan Hurley's obsession with creating a dynasty at UConn. Is he more locked in than ever? I think the answer is yes. But what I want to do is bring in our oldie but a goodie. It's been a while for Kyle. He's back, and he is at Gampel Pavilion. I want to get a vibe from the ground itself.
What's up, man? Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, all right?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited. First games tonight.
Absolutely. What's the vibe on the ground right now?
I can flip the camera around. There's a lot of people out here. The lines are getting bigger as we go. It started out just like 6 of us were playing basketball. We had a mini hoop out here. It's just been a great day of fun. We've had Dunkin' Pizza come through, so it's been awesome.
That's awesome. And John Fanta came through too, right?
Yeah, it did. John Fanta did come through, talk to us for a little bit. He filmed a little video for our Husky Pound Instagram and Twitter, and took some pictures with us. It was super cool.
It's awesome. What did you guys say to him? You had any questions for him or no?
I did ask him. I asked him and Bill Rafferty ever going to be on a call together, because that would be electric. That's something I want to see.
That'd be cool. I love it. What do you got? What's the expectation for you guys tonight? Like, as far as, you know, banner night, they're unveiling it, playing an in-state school in Sacred Heart, probably going to beat them by a ton. Little tougher school than probably people realize. But what's the expectation from the Husky Pound tonight?
We're just looking to be loud, set the expectation, set the tone for the rest of the season, show maybe the newcomers, the freshmen, sophomores who maybe haven't done this before, how we do it here at UConn and in the Husky Pound.
Do me a favor. Watch the newbies tonight. Watch Aiden, watch Terrace, watch some of the freshmen. Yeah. I want to see their reaction to some of these festivities, and they
actually came out. Isaiah came out, Abraham came out, Terrace Reed came out, and McNeely came out, and Dan Hurley did as well too. So
love it. Next time you see
t-shirts, and
I love it. Next time you see Dan Hurley, you got to say, "Hey man, you ever gonna go on Locked On UConn?"
I will.
Give me an interview.
If I see Fanta again, I'll ask him as well.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I hope you guys enjoy. I know it's a quick little jump on here, but I really wanted to just get a feel for what's going on out there. And dude, I wish I was in your shoes tonight. I'm going to be watching and cheering as always, and we're going to do a live reaction show. So if you want to jump on later when the show's over, All right. Let me know what the
Awesome.
I'll
Thanks,
definitely
Wes.
shoot
Good
you a
talking
link.
to you.
Peace out, brother. Have a good one. All right. That was Kyle Bergstrom live from Gampel Pavilion. Excited. They had people dropping off all kinds of stuff. I mean, what a time to be alive if you're a UConn fan. If you're there, if you're a student, I mean, good Lord. But real quick before we end the show, we all know that Alex Karaban is the centerpiece of this team. Watch Samson Johnson tonight. Watch him stepping into this bigger role in the front court. Watch the overall depth of the team. I think Liam McNeely is going to be fine. Dan said that he's available and looking good. I think Jaden Ross, Jay Ross is dealing with an ankle. So if we don't see him tonight, you'll see him this weekend. I don't think it's anything serious to worry about because he just said like a week ago that Jay Ross was playing like the best player on the team. So I'm a little down of that because I want to see him get game action, not just these practices and these secret scrimmages. But we gotta find a way to not only replace Donovan Clingan in the aggregate with multiple guys, but Stephon Castle. Where does that on-ball defender come from? Is it Jalen Stewart? Is it Jay Ross when he comes back? Is it going to be someone like Isaiah Abraham that can come in and just kind of lock people up? We're probably not going to find all those answers tonight, but it's a great start to the year. I am so excited for this game, guys. I'm jumping off, and I'm going to get ready for it, get this podcast out so you can listen to it before the game, listen to it after. I will be back on live after the game around 9:30 when the game is over. UConn gearing up for their season opener against Sacred Heart. The focus isn't just on winning this game. It's about setting the tone for the season, play after play after play. Dan Hurley and his boys chasing history right here in Storrs. Gotta love it. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto, asking you to stay locked on, stay connected. Make sure those toughness meters are rising sky high tonight. And as always, it's basketball season, baby. It starts tonight. Go Huskies.